Okay, Rod, it's probably quite difficult considering, you rode over 100 winners for Piper. But what would you say your highlight of your career as a jockey was?
Um, well, I mean, I wouldn't be as successful obviously as AP and things like that, but even so, you have. I was at it for 23 years, so there's lots of highlights and um, good days and lots of bad days, but that's just the way it is. And um, riding a festival winner was great, but there was lots of days where you just things went right for you. Like I won the Sky Bet, that was a good day as well at Doncaster. Um, Won quite a few grade races as well. So I think there's lots of good days. I can't really single one really. I mean, um, I won the mare's final, a mare called Just Jasmine. That was a good day as well because I won 7 or 8 in her. That's for Kevin Bishop as well, and it was Mrs. Ellis, the owner. It was a good big day for them. So yeah, there was lots of good days.
Um, you appeared to retire quite suddenly. Was it Sandown, age 36, just gave you a whip to a young child and said, I won't be needing this anymore?
Yeah, I know.
What happened there?
No, I dislocated my shoulder quite badly before that, and I was out for like 6 months. Complex operation. The shoulder went the wrong way, and it was a bit of a mess. And I just thought to myself, should I just keep going? And I decided to do some. Paul Stewart, a farrier, we had a chat one day, and he said, "Well, come on board with me and see if you like it for a while." While I was out injured, and I thought, yeah, this might be the way forward. But once I started doing it, I thought to myself, I was still young enough, and I thought, no, it was a big mistake.
So after 6 months, you were back at Pond House?
Back at Pond House, and basically, I made a mistake, basically, and I just wanted to get back into it and for a little, to see what happened, you know what I mean? So I'd spent a year messing around, really, because of the shoulder and that as well, so it's tricky to get back into it, and, some things had gone away and left me, and, when you get away from sport like that, sometimes it's not the same.
But, and that was David had taken over at that point?
No, I don't know if, maybe not long after, yeah. Not long after Dave took over. But I still had a few horses in the yard that the owners wanted, like Whispered Secret, for example. I rode him all the time, so there was a few horses I rode still.
And then, sort of the end of your career, 21st of March 2011 on Diamond Twister. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was a bad day. I had 5 rides down at Lingfield, and he was the first of the 5. And it was one of those races, it was a novice hurdle, it was first time over hurdles. And he went down to the first hurdle, and just instead of going in, he just sort of juttered into the hurdle, met it halfway up and fired me out to the front, which is no big deal. And I've landed on my knee. I've got pictures inside of it, and he flipped up in the air, and I've landed up, and he spun up in the air and landed on my neck badly, like a freak accident. And the spinal cord was caught, the vertebrae came out and snapped into the spinal cord, but didn't obviously snap it, thank God. But it damaged it so much so that I was paralysed for like 8 hours. But of course, when you're paralysed for 8 hours, when you're lying on the turf, it's a scary place because you're just lying there and you can't move, and you're just thinking this is the end, And it felt like that. And when you have the doctors around you can hear them. You're sort of in and out of consciousness, and they're saying, "He doesn't look good for your man." Do you know what I mean? So it's not a good sign.
And you were left there while they tended to another jockey.
That's right. Aidan Coleman broke his pelvis. It was like honestly, it was like there was a sniper going around there. I promise you, there was jockeys then left, right, and centre. But it was a horrible day. And when you're lying there like that, you're just thinking, this is bad.
And when you say you can't, you paralysed, can you feel anything? Or
nothing. There's nothing gone. That's the scary thing. When you talk about it, it's easy to say, oh yeah, But honestly, when you're lying there and you just cannot move, and I'm an active person, you just get up and I'd have falls all the time and just get up, and when you're lying there, you're thinking, geez, this is bad. This is really bad. This is it. We're done here. So to be stood here now, it's nice. It's good looking back on it.
And you, even when you got to hospital, did they give you the wrong treatment originally?
Yeah, everything. I went to St George's Hospital, London, got bad treatment. They tried to get me up. Bad it was until I went to Salisbury in Odstock, and they took the x-rays and they said, you're lying there, you've got 12 weeks in your back and you're not moving, so you're every 3 hours you're moved so you don't get bed sores, And I had that for many weeks. It's not nice. You're lying there the whole time.
Well, that must be literally torture for
It
somebody.
is,
so
yeah.
fit,
It was hard to do. They told me that. I started crying, to be fair. I thought, I can't do this for 12 weeks, whatever it was, 10 weeks, whatever it was. It was a long time. But it obviously worked well because the spine, the vertebrae knitted back in properly by just doing that, rather than the operation, which they said they didn't want to do because it was complicated.
And I read that 54 days you were in hospital.
Yeah, it was a long time anyway.
Yeah, and then, I mean, you've been described, Nigel Hawke described you as a fitness fanatic. I mean, is that because of what you so nearly lost?
No, well, not really. I've always liked to be active. I like to be fit, and to be fair, when I after hospital, you know, you've lost your race riding career, so you're trying to find something else, and that's why I cycle a lot, because it gives you a little bit of adrenaline, and you know, you don't make it back when you do race riding, but it's just, it gives you something different, and yeah, I enjoy it. But you know, when your race riding career is done like that so quickly, it's a horrible situation to be in. It's like having this beautiful woman you've had for all this time, and she's gone. Do you know what I mean? And you just think, well, what's happened? You know, what's going on? It's not a nice place to be in.
And what was the support like for you back in those days?
Well, the jockeys were fantastic. Like Lucy Charnock, who did the Land's End John O'Groats, she was there for me, and fantastic. You know, you needed someone there every day, because you're lying on your back and you've got no one to talk to. It's a horrible place to be in, but they were fantastic, brilliant.
I mean, now you've got jets and stuff. Was there anybody to sort of, obviously you got no money coming in, your career's ended, so what,
I did have Pris. You have Pris for 18 months, and luckily for me at the time I was getting quite a lot of rides, so that was a help. But you're done, your career's finished, and you've got to come to terms with that. You know, it's tricky. You're thinking, that's it, I'm done. Like, and I still had a Giant Bolster at the time. He was my main ride, and he was a good horse, and I always thought he could, you know, win a Gold Cup. I wasn't far wrong, and there was a lot to look forward to, and it's gone. You know what I mean? It's not a nice place to be in.
Is it? I was going to ask if you sort of prepare young people that you mentor now that this sort of thing can happen, but is that something you don't really do? They just sort of...
No, look, many jockeys don't get injured. For example, someone like Paddy Brennan, you know, he's had a fantastic career, done well, he's hardly been injured. I remember Warren Morrison, who I used to ride against. I think Warren might have broke a finger in his career, do you know what I mean? It's just some are lucky, some aren't. And to be honest with you, I thought I was going to be lucky, and I was just unlucky in the end, just one of those things.
And are you involved in sort of the rehabilitation of jockeys that have been injured as part of your career, or is that...
No, that's not my department really. I just try and I'm basically my thing is to help young kids to get on the road and be successful. Obviously there's perils involved in the job, and there's things that shouldn't happen and can happen, we talk about those sort of things, but my job is to prepare them for their career as a jockey and to be successful, hopefully.
And how long after your accident and your recovery did you fall into this job?
Oh, actually, funny enough, I was in hospital, and there was somebody gave me something in hospital. This thing came. It was called Heads Up or something. It was called. I remember it. And the nurse that gave it to me, she said, "Oh, this is coming for you." And I said to her, "Can you?" I couldn't use my arms because I was basically, my legs were working, but my arms wouldn't work. So she actually read it to me, and I was thinking, oh, it's about coaching. And to be fair, I thought, well, I wonder will it ever catch on. This was back in 2011, so it's come a long way from that. And
just looking through, sort of doing research for this, there's lots of glowing testimonies about you from jockeys that you've sort of trained. Is that the most rewarding aspect of the job?
Well, look, I mean, for me, the most rewarding things is that, like I say again, like yesterday, Ludlow, you've got a 6 race card, and you got 3 of your lads, 3 winners of your jockeys. That's a nice thing. I like that. And I like when everything goes well and they ride well, and we plan everything out and everything goes well that way, and there's no mistakes. That's what it's all about. And as long as they're improving and doing well, and I get a great kick out of that. That's for me. It's not about me. It's about them.
And despite you had a great career, but you were unlucky ultimately.
I was badly managed. I didn't have the management. If I'd had me back in them days, or someone like me, I think I'd have done a lot better. And that's a lot of jockeys back in my time would agree with that, because they didn't have direction, they didn't have coaching. There's someone to say, that's not right, you shouldn't do that, or you know, come on, let's do this better or whatever. You know what I mean? That's what coaching is all about, helping someone that's maybe needs a bit of direction.
So how would you, I mean, you know, when you sort of arrived at Oliver Carter's, I'm assuming you weren't extremely polished as a jockey, so how did you become more polished?
Well, you didn't. I mean, I thought it was brilliant. All young kids, you know, they watch John Frankham or Peter Scudamore and think, oh, I can do that. But of course, I remember watching, I rode a winner one day somewhere, and I thought I'd give it a great ride. And I came back in this weighing room afterwards and watched the rerun, and I thought, who's that? Do you know what I mean? So you just, it's you know, nowadays we can do a lot of work and make, you know, jockeys more polished and get technique and stuff like that. It's better.
Is that part of it? Look, do you watch back the videos with your...
Massively. Every like me and the lads yesterday, we watched the races back at the races, especially Harry Atkins. We sat back and watched the race up on the screen, and he was sort of looking at things, and I said, yeah, we could have done this or could have done that, or maybe, you know, you're always trying to make things better. And, you know, that's the whole idea of this. You're there and to make jockeys better and to realise what they can do better, basically, all that sort of stuff.
And, you know, so would you, I'm assuming, you know, would you recommend the lifestyle of a modern jockey to any young, there might be a 14-year-old watching this that's thinking they're thinking about going to the British Racing School or whatever. Is it, hand on the heart, a career that you would recommend to a young person if they're really keen on doing it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the younger they start, the better. Because if they start, pony racing is a brilliant way to get into it. And a lot of kids will be, you know, 11, 12, 13. The younger they start, the better. Often I'd say to a kid, you know, how old are you? And if they say to me, oh, you know, it's the more they've done early in their career and their lives, it makes it better, their path a lot easier. It really does. So I always get worried if someone says to me, oh, I'm 20 and I've only started riding. Well, to be honest with you, you're going to struggle because there's so many kids that have done so much before you. So the earlier you get on the if you like, the board and get rolling, it's a lot easier for you because you've got more experience and you just got a feel for it. It's really important. It's like golf, it's like tennis, all these sports. The more you start younger in life, the easier it becomes.
Okay, and the final question is probably what everybody gets asked about when they're on about their career, but is accidents withstanding, is there anything you'd have sort of done differently or regretted?
Oh, I've done so many things differently. As I say, if I'd had direction, gosh, yeah, loads of things that I just would have been a lot better and a lot more. I suffered from a lot of stuff, anxiety as a kid. I didn't realise I had it. You know, nowadays it's more about mental health. I didn't know what I had back in them days. I was just very easy intimidated. You know, I was always worried about things I shouldn't have worried about. And nowadays with the young lads, I say, look, just don't worry about that. Just get on with it. And you know, I can see it. You know, when in them, if it's something from myself, from my own mistakes. Do you know what I mean? So it's, yeah. If I had another go, I'd be a lot better.
Okay, but you're passing on that wisdom to lots of.
I hope so. I hope so. I've done okay, and I've made a lot of mistakes. And if I can stop them making the same mistakes and just be better, and I've been doing a job a while now, I can understand it a bit more, and I can see the good signs in people, and maybe when there's an error going to occur, I can stop it happening, basically.
So you'll be forging on lots of careers.
Hope so, yeah. I love it. I enjoy it. I get a lot out of it. I wouldn't want to do anything else. And yeah, I get a lot out of it. And as long as I can give them, the kids back, male and female, you know, make them good young people, that's what it's all about.
Brilliant. And on that note, Rodi Green, thank you very much.
Thank you.